Well, hello, everyone, and good evening, and welcome to another live edition of He Said, He Said, He Said, a look at the world from a seasoned Black man's perspective. I'm your host, Alvin King, and as always, we are grateful that you are joining us tonight. How's everyone doing out there? Seriously, how's everyone doing? It is so beautiful in Washington, D.C., and I'm telling you, this weather change, be careful. Yes, it's cooled off a lot, but this weather change has a lot of people sniffling, and it's not allergies, ladies and gentlemen. So, please take care of yourselves. Pull your masks out, wear your mask because people are catching colds. All right. Hey, did you all know that today is Happiness Happens Day? That's right. I didn't know until this week, but today, August the 8th, is Happiness Happens Day. And Lord knows, ladies and gentlemen, if there's no other time or moment that we need it, we definitely need some happiness. So Happiness Happens Day to all of you tonight. How you doing, Rodney? Thank you for joining the show tonight. And speaking of our show tonight, we have an amazing singer and vocalist here, ladies and gentlemen. Our special guest is the incredible Jacob Lusk. He is here with us tonight. Some of you might know who he is from American Idol, but this man is here with us tonight, and we are so looking forward to talking with Jacob, seeing what's going on, and he has a new solo project coming out. So he's going to talk about that right here on our show, ladies and gentlemen. And again, we're so excited to have him here. Well, I find it fascinating, and by fascinating, I mean downright tragic, that the president of the United States has time to go toe-to-toe with a radio host while the country feels like it's falling apart at the seams. Charlamagne the God, a cultural voice, a radio icon of the Breakfast Club, and yes, someone with some pretty strong opinions, shares a critique on my view with Lord Trump. She's the Republican National Committee co-chair and is married to the president's son, Eric Trump. And instead of addressing the substance, the president claps back like it's a Twitter beef from 2012. He called Charlamagne a racist sleazebag and said that he has low IQ. And to be honest with you guys, I'm so sick of that being the new narrative from these MAGA folks talking about Black people and we have low IQ. But anyway, I digressed a little bit. Let me tell you what's low, Mr. President: wages, morale, hope. And also let me tell you what's high: rent, unemployment, inflation, anxiety, and apparently your presidential pettiness. Charlamagne said something real this week. He said that the least of us are still being impacted by the worst. And instead of reflection, we continue to get deflection, ladies and gentlemen. While families are choosing between gas and groceries, while the world wars are brewing and the economy is sputtering, the president is on his keyboard warpath against Black voices and culture. This ain't about a radio beef, and it's definitely about erasure. It's about distraction. It's about trying to make America white again, louder and prouder than ever. So here's the real donkey, according to Charlamagne, of the day. It's not the man with the mic. It's the man with the power who's using it to punch down instead of lifting up this nation. It's really, really sad, ladies and gentlemen. So every time I think, well, what else? And then something else happens. So I've just stopped saying that. But speaking of what else, the BET Hip Hop Awards and Soul Train Awards have been indefinitely suspended. This means they will not air on BET for the foreseeable future. This is not a permanent cancellation, but rather a pause while BET figures out how to best deliver these events in a changing media landscape. BET CEO Scott Mills stated the decision is due to shifting media consumption habits and a need to reevaluate how to best reach modern audiences. But this is what I know to be true. The award shows are not canceled outright, but they are on hold with no set date to their return. I really don't know what that means, but that's what they're saying. BET is actively exploring new formats, platforms, and strategies for the events, potentially moving away from traditional linear television broadcasts. Does that mean that they expect somebody like Netflix or Prime to pick up the BET Awards? I don't think so, but we shall stand down. The decision reflects the broader trend of declining linear viewership. It's about money and the rise of digital streaming platforms. But on the real, these shows were important platforms for us Black folk and our Black music and our culture, and their absence will be felt by fans around the world. And over the last 7 to 10 years, if you ask me, the BET Awards and the Soul Train Awards have taken a little turn from what they used to be. I'm not going to go into that, but they could use some help, but not taken completely off the air. So while BET is exploring new avenues, there's currently no indication of what will replace the shows in the short term. All right. So I don't know. I love my music and I want my music. And speaking of something that I want, I don't do this show without these two guys. So if you all are ready, let me get them in here. Let's get on with the chat. Hey, gentlemen.
Happy Friday.
Happy Friday. Say that again, Sean.
Buenos tardes, amigos.
Okay, so he's gonna give us Spanish lessons every time we come on the air every week. Okay, I'm here for it, Sean.
We all should be bilingual.
Okay. So he said.
Yes, I was going to say something that probably would have gotten us in trouble, so I'm going to leave that alone.
Us or you?
Me.
You. Okay. Hey, everybody. Thank you for joining us. Eric Shields is here.
Hey.
Rodney, I said hello to Rodney Braddock. George Pringle is here. Diane Thomas is here. Monica Pleasant.
Hey,
Michelle Michi Bowie is here.
Hey.
Michi, how you doing, my love? Thank you all for being with us tonight. Have you guys had a good week, first of all?
I have had a good week. It was good. The weather cooperated, and it's a good week. I took some time off. Been running errands and taking care of some things here at the house, so no complaints.
No complaints. How about you, Sean? I know you've been a little under the weather, but how are you feeling?
I feel good, but I'm still recovering from a cold.
Okay. All right. Well, that's right. Drink your water. Charles Reese is here, ladies and gentlemen. Y'all see him, but he's going to be here next week. He's our special guest, and he has something new to share with us also. So
can't wait to see him.
Huh?
Can't wait to have him back.
Can't wait to have him back. So what's going on in the chat, you guys? What's happening with you?
Let me start this off because, I really want to dive into that Charlemagne conversation in the BET situation. But first of all, no man is a god. But the thing that has been brewing on the internet for a while now is this debate between Black excellence versus Black power. And of course, nothing new. This started with one of my favorite individuals, W.E.B. Du Bois, who put forth this idea of the talented 10th. And so we now are at a place where people are debating, can we have one versus the other? So I'm asking you guys, how do you define Black excellence versus Black power? And my second question to that is, again, this is this code. Are we losing one versus the other, given the differences in culture and political climates that we are in right now?
Oh, and viewers, you all feel free to weigh in on that. I'm just going to, Sean, if you don't mind. Sean asked two questions. He said, how do you define Black excellence versus Black power? Right. And he said, and the second question is, are we losing one versus the other, given the differences in cultural and political climates we're in right now? Bobby, I'm going to let you.
Well, I think the cover of the book spoke for me in the sense that there is power in Black excellence. I do not see them as being exclusive. In fact, I see there is a great overlap. I think through Black excellence, we gain power, and then there is power in Black excellence. But if I'm to be frank, when I first think of these things, when you first mention them to me, when I think Black excellence, the first thoughts that come to mind to me is just like extraordinary achievement in all fields of human endeavor. Whether, the accomplishments that we have been able to make in a society that has never in any way, shape, or form been set up to support us. And yet we've been able to accomplish at the highest levels of almost every field of endeavor possible. So when I think Black excellence, I think about that. When I think Black power, unfortunately, I think basically as a Black man, and certainly someone who grew up here in the Washington, D.C. area, I think about power. I think about decision making. I think policy making, those things. But I also think ground roots, that we as a people collective have power. I look at the impact of a boycotting of a store, for instance, that chose to turn its back on us. That store has felt it. That store continues to be open, but that store has felt the power of the collective Black community by us saying, you turned your back on us without thinking about it, and we are not going to give you our money. So,
but Alvin, let me ask you, because part of this stemmed from people seeing athletes, celebrities, as being the example of Black excellence versus Black power, in a sense of what we saw in the 1960s, for example, with leaders like Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and Malcolm X and Sophie Carmichael. Now, I think Bobby is correct regarding Black power, but do we really have Black power in the way that we had it in the 1960s? Did it end in 1965 with the Voting Rights Act? Alvin, what are your thoughts on that?
See, I don't know why he asked me, because he said like I was born in 1960 or something like that. I don't know why he went to me and asked
you weren't born in the 60s?
I was born in 1959 to be exact, right before the segregation ended. Okay,
but you weren't politically active in the 60s.
Right after, but I wasn't politically active. But let me answer the first question, or if I may, about how do you define Black excellence and Black power? I think, honestly, Black excellence and Black power starts at home, starts in a child. And I don't think that enough parents, I know mine didn't, instill in me how powerful I could be, or the Black excellence that I could be. And I know that a lot of parents don't do that. They have embedded in these children's ear or their mind that Black excellence has to look like Michael Jordan, or Black excellence has to look like President Obama. That is wrong. Black excellence is sometimes how you get up in the morning, how you respect your parents. And a lot of that does not start at home anymore. So when Sean brought this up, I had to spend some time with it, because that's where it starts. Now, again, it needs to start at home. And not feel like you have to have, trophies thrown at you, or you have to have money thrown at you to say that you are excellent, or that your power, if you respect your neighbor, how powerful that can be.
Yeah.
A lot of children do not have that instilled in them. So I'm just going to leave it there. Now, going back to the 60s question, Sean, what was that question again? Because I'm sorry, I went back to my childhood.
I feel like that there was more Black power in the 60s versus now.
Oh, yeah.
And that Black power kind of ended with, of course, with the assassinations of certain individuals, and of course, with the Voting Rights Act of 1965. What have we seen in a sense of Black power since then? It hasn't been on the Supreme Court. It hasn't been in the White House per se, because Barack Obama was not a president for Black people. He was a president of the United States of America, all Americans. So have we? I don't know if we have Black power. Now, to Bobby's point, there's this collective against Target and what have you and so forth, and these boycotts. But was it truly that impactful? I mean, I know they lost some money, but they're still running.
I see it as an example of power. And I think that, there are people who certainly call into question a lack of if you will, a designated leader of sorts. I think there were periods of history when people were kind of seen as leaders of the Black community, and Martin Luther King and others, Jesse Jackson and others, who kind of spoke on behalf of a collective. That was not always well received, because there were also people like, well, the Black Panthers actually speak for me, or that, but there have been times where I think that there has been more of a sense of a designated collective spokesperson that was kind of leading, efforts for the community. We don't necessarily have that right now. I think that there are people that certainly people respect, but I don't think we have a designated leader, if you will. That doesn't mean that we don't have power. I think, again, in the end, our strongest power is our collective, our being able to unite against things that do not work or support our existence.
Well, thank you, Sean, for that, for opening up that discussion. And thank you, George. You said Black Lives Matter was key to Black power. That was the closest that I can think of us coming to me seeing Black people unite on that scale.
Yes.
But I'm not going to, without some statistics, compare it to the Black Panther movement or the Black Power movement of the 60s that I couldn't remember because I was a child in a stroller, and I just couldn't fully remember that. So thank you, Sean. I appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you.
Well, I'm going to take us in a slightly lighter direction, but something that still impacted and a lot of Black people certainly talked about. It's Happy Charitine, everyone. I want to say to everyone. And that is because on August 5th, it marked the second year since the hat that flew in the air. It was the hat toss seen around the world. We all remember it. Who among us could ever forget the first time we saw the viral video of the Montgomery, Alabama riverfront brawl? It all began as disgruntled white boaters were told that they had to move their boat from the slip reserved for a riverboat packed with passengers. The riverboat was forced to idle mid-river for about 45 minutes, y'all. And when approached and told to move by the riverboat co-captain, Damian Pickett, who is Black, one of the boaters pushed Pickett, if you might remember that, and he shoved him back. Now, Pickett tossed his hat, and it was literally like the bat signal for help because people came from out of everywhere. So within seconds, an outright brawl began between the boaters and the Black citizens who refused to let Pickett go out like that. They were not letting the brother go out like that, including Aaron Hamilton Randolph, who jumped from the riverboat that was idling in the water and swam like he was in the Olympics to help get to Pickett. It was extraordinary. The tossed hat, the swimming brother, and the infamous folding chair used in the brawl have all become cultural symbols for not today. Several boaters were charged with misdemeanors and fines, while Richard Roberts, who actually threw the first punch, served jail time. And I want to close with what I thought was one of the funniest recent things about it very quickly. Essence Magazine had a little ditty about the chair, and they said, "Swing low, sweet chair. August 5th, 2023 is a day we will never forget. The ancestors were summoned to Montgomery, Alabama for what will forever be remembered as Fade in the Water. Today, we reflect on the bravery, courage, and pure strength of those who swam, jumped, and leaped with the power of Harriet, Frederick, and Malcolm. May we forever remember that a chair is still a chair, even when no one is sitting there."
You better go ahead. Look, ladies and gentlemen, look.
And looky there.
Bobby gave me this chair when that was going on. And I just put my little girlfriend from Antigua in here so she could sit here and look at y'all in my house. Bobby, thank you for that. Yeah, that was a moment. That was a moment. And I don't advocate violence at all.
No.
But that was a moment when, I was honestly sitting back saying, whoop, that ...
There were times when we would walk around and take our caps and just throw it in there and be like, it's like that.
just make it happen.
Make it happen.
It was a moment.
You said what, Sean?
It was solidarity, and it was where when I first saw it, my whole family were texting each other, and I was the first to text out the clip, and I said, I really don't think this is funny, but wow, I'm so happy. It made me happy to see it.
Because you knew that those people were wrong. They were really wrong, and they were going to attack that man. And what you saw was, again, the collective, as we were talking about power, those people were like, not today. Not today.
Well, I think it was a symbol that we should always reflect on. So thank you, Bobby, for bringing it back to us.
Absolutely.
And
Happy 13th.
while we're talking about reflecting, ladies and gentlemen, I don't know if you all know this or not, but on August the 6th, 2025, marked the 60th anniversary of the Voting Rights Act of 1965, signed into law by President Lyndon B. Johnson. This landmark legislation aimed to overcome the legal barriers of the state and local levels that prevented African Americans from exercising their right to vote under the 15th Amendment. The act outlawed discriminatory practices like literacy tests and poll taxes, dramatically increasing Black voter registration and political representation, particularly in the South. The Voting Rights Act is considered one of the most transformative pieces of legislation in modern American democracy, solidifying and expanding access to the ballot box for millions. It significantly increased political opportunities for Black Americans and other people of color. The act ensured that ballots would be made accessible to non-English speakers and individuals with disabilities, further expanding democratic participation. Ladies and gentlemen, while the Voting Rights Act cemented protections, the struggle to enforce and extend those protections, they're continuing. And in recent years, the Supreme Court has weakened key provisions of the act, leading to concerns about increasing voter suppression efforts. I'm going to just go off script and say, ladies and gentlemen, wake up. We are under attack.
Absolutely.
I can't even comprehend.
Absolutely.
60 years. I'm 66 years old, and all I've ever known is that I have the right to vote. And so now you're telling me that that's being taken away from me because of this climate that we're in. I just wanted to share that as a point of reference so that people can open their eyes and their minds to what is happening right now.
Absolutely.
And use your power.
I think that power, again, has been taken away. And I think it's much worse than actually votes been taken away because we will be able to vote, but it won't matter because gerrymandering would have taken over all the states for the most part. And that's what's happening now. Jasmine Crockett they're trying to gerrymander her out of her district, out of her seat.
Right.
It's happening in Florida. It's happening in Alabama. Okay, now we do have people like Gavin Newsom in California who say that, okay, if Texas gerrymanders the state like that, then he's going to gerrymander the entire state of California, which would give Democrats the win in the House.
Yes.
So, and I'm like, go for it. Use that power, if you will, because voting isn't going to matter anymore. Because when you gerrymander us out of a district, what does that vote matter? It's so.
Well, you got to wake up to know what's going on. There's a lot of people who I feel have their head in the sand.
Absolutely.
And that is the nature of this show. And, to be a resource to what people may not know, go out and tell other people because the struggle is real. It is definitely real.
And very important to remember that, it has not been that long since we've all had the opportunity and the actual right to vote. So it is important, and we need to pay attention to both midterms and local elections.
Okay. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we promised you we're going to shift gears. We're going to shift gears, ladies and gentlemen, because I told you that we have a very special guest with us tonight. And you know what? You guys, I'm gonna be honest with you. This person made sure that he was here with us tonight, ladies and gentlemen. So, Bobby and Sean, if you all are ready, can I go ahead and introduce him, please?
Bring him in. We've been waiting for him.
Ladies and gentlemen, and Dr. Toole, thank you for being here tonight. Thank you. We appreciate you being here. He's been called a vocal powerhouse, a soul-stirring performer with a fearless, creative voice. From his roots in Compton, California to the global stage, Jacob Lusk has captivated audiences with his rich gospel roots, electrifying presence, and unapologetic authenticity. You know him from American Idol, from Gabriels' genre-defined sound, and now he's stepping into his solo era with even more fire. He's shared stages with Elton John, toured with Harry Styles, and just lit up Royal Albert Hall, you guys. So tonight, we bring you the one and the only Jacob Lusk for the Jacob Lusk Experience.
Bring him in, bring him in, bring him in. Voila!
Buddy, how y'all doing?
Jacob, wonderful. How are you?
I am okay. Pardon my appearance, pardon my tardiness, pardon everything. Yes.
You're here.
You
Safe and sound, and nobody knew about a tardiness.
we didn't tell him.
We don't let them see us sweating, brother.
No. We did what we do, but like I said, you went through high waters and what you needed to do to get here. So welcome to He Said.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, so you want to take a little breath, Jacob, because I'm glad we're here.
I refuse to be the late black man. I refuse to be. Yeah. Anyway, we're here.
You are here, which is what's most important. And after looking at some of those headshots, like that costume with and that black hat, who's gonna deny you? You're good.
So, okay, Jacob, I'm going to go ahead and start it off because we want to make sure that we get through all of our questions with you tonight, Jacob. So I'm just going to, go right into, I'm going to talk about your career, your artistry, and the evolution in these next couple of questions. So again, welcome to the show, Jacob. So from Compton to the world stage, how would you describe the journey, if you can put it into a few minutes, from being raised apostolic and singing in church at age 5 to performing at Royal Albert Hall this year? Can you kind of condense it and give us an idea of what that was like?
Unexpected, miraculous, but also I don't think we give ourselves enough credit in our journey. I think a lot of things is chance, a lot of things is miraculous, but a lot of it is just hard work and perseverance. Mm-hmm. So I think it's a combination of all those things, honestly.
Wow.
Well, what was it like? You grew up, apostolic. Tell us about, growing up in the church, and now we're talking to Jacob Lusk, who I just saw belt out a song at the Library of Congress that just took my breath away. Right?
It's crazy. I just got my first tattoo this weekend.
Oh.
So my grandmother is probably, and it's actually her name, so she's probably very upset. But it was very strict, but I'm actually grateful for it. Mm-hmm. The thing about my upbringing is our pastor, I didn't go to the movies. I didn't wear shorts to school. When I got my ears pierced, my grandmother cried. But he taught us, he said, your parents have put these restrictions on you because these are my convictions. And when you're older, you're going to have to live your life according to your own convictions. Mm-hmm. And so it freed me very quickly as a young person. So when I hear these stories, there's this Sylvester project I was working on some time ago, and the director of it, because I'm very religious, and he was like, well, how are you? I can't believe in a God who doesn't believe in me, is what he told me. Mm-hmm. And it saddened me because I was like, my God believes in me. He loves me, and he made me just as I am for a reason and for a purpose. And so growing up for me the way that I did, I think it actually probably saved me because I had this faith that I can always hold on to and go back to.
Thank you, Jacob. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. I love that. And of course, like we said earlier, many folks know who you are. So many fans remember your American Idol performances of God Bless the Child, one of my favorite songs as a child, and You're All I Need by the late, great Marvin Gaye, who was from Washington, D.C. Here I am, along with Tammy Terrell. What those moments mean to you? I mean, what do they mean to you when you perform those songs? How did it shape your path going forward?
It's really interesting. So I wasn't allowed to listen to secular music as a child. So I didn't know You're All I Need to Get By when I sang it for the first time. Mm-hmm. And it's interesting, though, because that music, it sat so well on me. It sits just like, oh, this is my music. And I think it's something about our music that it sits in a place that you can't explain, that you can't articulate. And that music does that. It hits you in the heart, it hits you in the soul, and it it fits like a glove. It fits like a suit that you've had for 10 years. I can't.
Wow.
And I'm grateful that I've been allowed to sing those songs really around the world.
Mm.
Well,
It's amazing that you weren't able to listen to the secular music, and yet you are able to channel some of the greats, as Sylvester, Billie Holiday, of course, you know, Diana Ross, Luther Vandross, that you've been said to channel these people through your performances and so forth. So one of the things I'm curious about is, given that you weren't able to listen to some of those artists, who ultimately would you say have been your biggest musical influences, and how do you incorporate that inspiration into your artistry?
Karen Clark Sheard was a huge inspiration for me. The Clark sisters, Shirley Caesar, BB and CeCe Winans were everything to me, because it was the first time because I feel like they sang kind of like pop singers. Day by day, no more reaction. You listen to everything my heart beats is yours.
That duet album of theirs was incredible. Yes.
You know, so it's a for me, I think, and I also think just life. I think the difference is there are a lot of singers who I listen to and who I probably do emulate. But when I sing, I'm really trying to channel the divine and channel the energy in the world around me. Mm-hmm. So it's really more just letting the voice and the thing do the thing. And that inspiration comes from the world. It comes from my family. It comes from my friends. It comes from really the life that I've led, and just letting it do it. And when you think of Marvin Gaye and Tammy Terrell, you think of like their story and how they sang. I believe their life is what made them sing like that. If you think about Luther Vandross, I don't know if you saw the Luther Vandross doc, but at the end of it, they talk about his song "Any Love." Everybody needs a love, no doubt, and how he didn't have it, and how he that was one of his very few songs that were autobiographical. And I think singing from the place, or singing from that place, is what those people did. And that is what I hope to do, and I hope that I'm doing.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think that you are. And when you talk about those gospel artists like the Clark sisters and what have you, to me, they were crossover artists in a sense, you know, because they were living their authentic lives, if you will. They were putting that stuff out there. But you have gotten praise from people that you have worked with. So you work with Elton John, you work with Harry Styles, and like I said, you earned their praises. So what have you learned from those collaborations?
What I've learned is to be kind. Like every person, I've done backgrounds for Diana Ross. I've worked with Lettucey. Everyone that I've worked with that's been extremely successful, they're all extremely kind. They have really great teams around them, and they've had the same team for dozens of years, tens of years. And they also help other people. Elton John's helped me, Harry Styles has helped me, Diana Ross, Lettucey. You know, these are people who've kind of grabbed me and said, hey, whatever you need, little black boy, come on, I got you. So, yeah.
Well, I'm going to, first of all, real quick, because we live. Jacob, do me a favor and lower your camera just a little. There you go. There you go. You good. Because no, I was trying to be all smooth and like, okay, let me ask Jacob to lower that camera. Hold on. Rodney Bryan said many of Luther's deep, unreleased songs were autobiographical. Listen to some of those mid-tempos to slow songs. He was crying out about what he didn't have in his life. That is true. And Dr. Toole said, what about the young people and others who hear the strict messages of strict religions as condemnations? How do we reach out to them or suggest to them? How do you separate God from religion? Ooh.
I think, well, there's a few things I want to address in that. So I'm on this like soapbox. I haven't done a lot of interviews and stuff like that, but I was really excited to do this with three, I think, same gender loving men.
Oh, you good. Go ahead. You good.
I wasn't sure.
Mic drop. Okay.
I wasn't sure.
Okay.
I think it's so important that our young people see us and see me, right? So I'm a little older. I won't say my age, but for me, I didn't have people to look up to, and the people that I looked up to didn't necessarily live lives that I could replicate or that I wanted to replicate, right? Mm-hmm. And even now for these young people, that's what they want to be. They say they want to be a social media influencer, right? Mm-hmm. When I was younger, it was a doctor, it was a lawyer, it was a this, it was a that, right? But now they're looking up to the people that they follow on OnlyFans and on Twitter and on Instagram. So who can I look up to who has faith, who, you know, maybe he isn't naked all the time. Maybe he wears a suit sometimes. Maybe, you know, he wants to get married. Maybe he believes in monogamy. Maybe he doesn't. That's not to attack anybody else's life choices or whatever they decide to do. But for me, it's really about being a living, breathing example for people. And doing the shows with Harry Styles changed me. So Harry Styles is a white guy. He's from England. And most of the people who come to his shows are honestly little white girls. And the people at the label at the time didn't think that the tour would be a good fit for us. So our manager fought for us and some other people at the label fought, and we ended up doing the tour. I share that to say, after I did the show, all these little queer white kids were coming up to me and they were calling me their best friend, and they followed me on Instagram. And I was like, oh, this is why I'm in this space. And so when you say, how do we get them to unlearn the bad habits, or how do we get them to see the separation? We literally have to live it. They literally have to see it. Like, I wish I saw more people that looked like me when I was younger. I wish I saw more people who looked like me, who were married, who had kids, who were happy, who, you know, and not saying that they don't exist, but they weren't living out loud in a way that I knew exactly who they were and I knew exactly what they were doing. Like, I didn't know. And so for me, that is the solve for it. The solve for it is more people like me coming out and being true to who they are, saying who they are, and not being afraid to go after what they want. And in that, I'm meeting so many young people and telling them the same thing. I hope I answered the question.
Oh, well, you did, and we're gonna dive a little bit more into that. I just got a couple of more questions to ask you about your career, but we're gonna dive into that, Jacob. Trust me. So, real quick, Jacob, Gabriels was critically acclaimed for its unique sound and storytelling. How did you meet Ryan Hope and Ari? I think is Balusian. Balusian.
So
how did you meet them?
My aunt wanted me to help the church choir get booked for a choir gig. I was being quite grand at the time. And I didn't say, do you know who I am? But I was like, girl, do you know who I am? I ain't doing no choir gig. Are you out of your mind? And it wasn't, and I'm a SAG-AFTRA member, and I was like, it's not SAG. Are you trying to get me in trouble, girl? I ain't doing that. So she talked really bad about me. She's like, yeah, but the church, and they could get the gig, and the young people, and they always use the young people to get you. So I took the church choir. The church choir booked the gig. I left them. I was like, okay, y'all got the gig. I'm gone. They went to a studio session. I didn't go. And they were like, hey, where's the guy that was directing you? And they was like, oh, he said he ain't coming. What do you mean he's not coming? He's not coming. And if Jacob tells you he's not coming, he's not coming. So where can we see him? Well, he'll be at church on Sunday. So they stalked out the church. It was in Leimert Park at a school. They stayed the whole service. And then after the service, they set up a remote studio at the church and was like, hey, can we record the choir? I said, absolutely not. It's 2:00 in the afternoon. They've been here all day. And this is a real choir. So we have people in this choir who are tone deaf. We have people who, you know, it's a real choir. We sang one song for y'all that we've been singing for 5 years, okay? And you not arrange them. And, you know, I said, well, I'll just record all the parts. And they were like, are you sure? And I was like, yeah, I'll do it. And so I did it in maybe 15 or 20 minutes because I'm a singer, right? It's easy for me. They're like, well, who are you? And I was like, don't worry about it. Goodbye. I'm done. Y'all got what y'all needed. I'm done. They came back to the church again, stalked me for a little while, and then I ended up doing the little commercial for them, and then we kind of became friends. And the guy, his name is Ryan Hope. He lived in Palm Desert at the time, Palm Springs area. He was like, why don't you come over to my house and stay for a few days? And I was like, white man, tattoos, supposed to come stay at his house in Palm Springs for a few days. No, thank you. I'm saved, sanctified, filled with the Holy Ghost. I'm not coming. I saw Get Out. All right. No, thank you. And my grandmother said, well, you're grown. You can go. You don't feel okay. So I went, and it ended up actually being really cool. So he moved out there to kind of escape the party scene of LA and Hollywood. And after that, we kind of started doing that every month for a little while. And then COVID came. Actually, we did a Prada ad. So he filmed commercials. So we did a song for a Prada ad called Priorities of Love. That was our first song called Loyalty. And then it just kind of it spiraled from there. It was the first time. So I'm a big black guy, right? So everybody they've been calling me a Little Luther since I was 12, right? So for the first time, I was in a space where I didn't have to be anything. So I was just doing what naturally came out of my body. And what naturally came out was the Billie Holiday that I was allowed to listen to, and the Nat King Cole that I was allowed to listen to, and the Nina Simone and a little bit of other flavors. And that is kind of what started to propel Gabriels. And then Elton heard the music during COVID, and I was working a full-time corporate job at the time, not gonna quit my good job with benefits and unlimited vacation. I bought me a little Mercedes. I was like, yeah, this music shit cool, but I'm not leaving my job to come play with y'all. Because I've been here, done that. I've done American Idol, I'm finally stable, to buy a little Louis here and there. So and then Elton John interviewed us, and we went to Europe and did a few shows. We did maybe 5 shows. Our first show was maybe 100 people. Within a year, our shows went up to maybe 2,500. So there was just this kind of like miraculous kind of growth in Europe, because the live is what kind of did it. And no one knew I could sing live. And honestly, I didn't either, because I had never done an hour show on my own, singing my own music. But I guess if you could make it in black church, in a storefront church with just an organist and a piano, you could probably make it. If you could probably make it anywhere. So,
well, see, and
I just wish you had a little more energy.
Yeah,
I'm not feeling it. Like, I need to. You are hilarious. I love that.
Go ahead, Bobby. I'm sorry.
I was just gonna say, you've got a debut album. Solo album about to come out it's Parlophone Warner Music.
Yes. And
so the question is, with this new debut album, are there themes and stories that you're excited to tell about Jacob?
There are. I feel really blessed. I'm gonna sound really churchy. I feel very blessed of the Lord.
Holy sanctified, even.
I feel very blessed of the Lord. So I'm closer to 40 than I am to 20. I will not admit that to anywhere else, but here, praise the name of the Lord Jesus.
We won't tell a soul.
Okay, you heard it first, okay? And I am so lucky, because I have a great label and a great team of people around me who every day they tell me to be myself. They tell me to, whatever I want to do, whatever I want to be, I'm allowed to be that. And in the music, they have pushed me to do that. And so I've been recording music now for a couple years, and I've recorded so many songs. Like, we can go over here, we can go over here, we can go to Saturn, we can go to the moon. So I have a song on the album called Fighting Blind, which I really love. And
say the name again.
It's called Fighting Blind.
Fighting Blind. Okay.
And there's a book called I'm having a brain fart right now. The Invisible Man by Ralph Ellison. And in one of the first scenes, it's you're essentially, and I haven't read the book in years. My mother made me read it at 13. She should not have allowed me to read this book, but we're not going to talk about it. And the book talks about racism in America in general, but in one of the scenes, this black man is essentially made to fight blind for the entertainment of everyone else. And my life has kind of felt like that the last couple of years. Like, I'm just swinging, just trying to stay alive. If I lose someone else, I'm going to lose my mind. And then there's another part of the song where I talk about, I want somebody who's going to stay in my corner, won't leave. When things get hard, we will agree not to give up on each other. It's really just my life as, I don't even say this often, but as a black gay man navigating the music industry and really the world, because there are not a lot of me's in the music industry. And the ones that are wearing a full face of makeup, or got their butt out, or they thirst trapping all over Instagram. And I can thirst trap too. Praise God. Don't be deceived. But that's not what I'm about. Like, what happened to Whitney and Diana and Patty and Luther and the excellence that we were. And so that's what I'm about.
Well, Jacob, I'm going to end this part of the interview real quick, because we want to talk about, identity and expression and representation, but that all the 4 of us can identify with. But Jacob, you've been part of multiple musical worlds: gospel, pop, soul, classical, crossovers. Where do you feel most at home artistically?
Honest, so this is the thing about me. So my family didn't really encourage me singing. I was a bit of an academic. Like, I scored like a 1460 on the old SAT. Well, I'm telling my age if I took the old SAT, but we won't tell nobody. And I think I got like a 94 on the ASVAB. So my mother was like, you're going to be a smart little black boy. And you're going to go do this. And this music thing was not something they encouraged. So for me, I'm happy anywhere I'm allowed to sing. Like if I'm in the choir, I'm happy. If I'm teaching people how to sing, I'm happy. I just want to sing. I want to be in the choir. I want to be a choir director. I didn't want to be a lead singer. And I think, and this is what I will say, and not that you asked me this question, but for people who desire to do music, I think it's important to understand, and I don't want to shoot down anybody's dreams. Everybody is not going to be Beyonce. Everybody's not going to be Luther. Everybody's not going to get signed to Warner Music. Everybody's not going to tour with Elton John. So you have to find, I have a friend now, she does music and she's kind of struggling because she's getting older. It's not happening for her. And she'll sell her body parts to make it. And it's not happening for her. I'm like, girl, you got to find some peace. You got to find some joy. You got to find some happiness, because if this doesn't happen the way that you want it to happen, and I'm not saying that it's not, you're going to be miserable. And a lot of people are doing it for the wrong reason. So you really have to find your love for music and let that carry you through, so that if it does not happen the way that you think it will, if it does not go the way that you want it to go, and not saying that it's not, you haven't lost your life. Even for me, I didn't date for a long time. So I'm in a place now. I'm like, you know what? Actually, I want to get married. And I'm not going to wait until I have 10 Grammys to do it. And I'm not going to wait until my life is over to do it. I'm not going to wait till I'm shriveled up and can't breathe anymore to do it. So you just find your joy, whatever it is, however it is, and go.
And go for it.
And let that be what it is. And if you end up at the Grammys, then great. But if you don't, have the integrity that you treat, and I tell everyone that knows this about me knows this, I treat everything like it's the Grammys. If I'm coming to sing at your church, I've had several rehearsals. I planned my outfit, even if it's jeans and a t-shirt. I planned my outfit because I was like, this will be appropriate because the people won't think I'm too grand if I wear jeans and t-shirt. Like, I treat everything in that way, and so I never lose out. And it prepares me so that when I get to these bigger places, I've been living like this always. Sorry.
No, don't be, because you just spoke to one of our opening conversations about Black excellence. Ladies and gentlemen, that is Black excellence right there. Because I posted earlier this week, just because you show up in a room don't mean that you arrived. And so, I'm sorry, Sean, you can go ahead and continue, because Jacob got me passing the plate. So go ahead. I don't know what's going on.
I love it. Jacob, because you got me thinking as well, because I do a lot of reading and what have you, and there are two recording artists, Aretha Franklin and Whitney Houston, and the thing that stands out for me about their history is that producers have always said they love their voices. Whitney loved her own voice. Aretha loved her own voice, and that's what I'm getting from you. And this is a different segment though. Alvin talked about identities. So this is where we are right now. So let me get right into this. As a sane and living Black man in the music industry, how has your identity shaped your journey, both your challenges and your triumphs? And I'm going to tweak this a little bit. Your voice. Talk about your voice in that as well.
So I'll start with my voice. As a younger person, I literally asked the Lord, because I had a very high-pitched voice all my life. I've always ended up singing really, really high. Right. And I'll go a little further. I was shaped a little differently. Praise the name of the Lord Jesus. And I said, well, God, why you make me like this? Why I couldn't be a box like everybody else?
Right.
Why did I have to be all that? I didn't know that it was a blessing from the Lord. I didn't know. Now that I'm older, praise God. Hallelujah. I didn't know though.
We're gonna praise God all day. Go ahead.
Oh, in all things, give him thanks.
Okay. Because what you know, you know.
No, I asked the Lord, and I asked him as a young person, because I was like, I want to be normal like everybody else. And he was like, I made you this way for a purpose, and you'll see. And so I was like, okay, cool. So then with my high-pitched voice, I kind of started to become okay with that, right? That was that part. And honestly, I wasn't a very good singer as a young person, because I have about 4 or 5 octaves in my range without a break, but I didn't know that was a good thing. and I didn't know what to do with it. So now that I kind of know what to do with it, I'm like, oh, that's why that was that, right? And please ask me your question again because I got lost in the
song. So as a single living Black man in music, how has your identity shaped your journey, both challenges and your triumphs?
So it was hard because I did not have people to look up to, right? The only person who was close to was Luther, and Luther was in the closet. So I would have Black people in the music industry tell me, don't tell anybody, keep it a secret, be Luther. So when I first started doing music, I had girls on stage with me all the time. My deal with my first manager, our word was get the panties. So I was singing R&B music, and the goal was to always get the panties at every show. So how would I get the girls to give me their panties? That was literally what how it started, right? That was what it was. I have a song called Condensation, okay? Please don't look this up, but you probably will. It's called Condensation. I have tried to scrub it from the internet, okay? Because it is a nasty, freaky song about me doing to some girl. I never had sex with no girl!
You get the picture.
Okay. So that's how it started. And then being on Idol, even that was a thing, right? So I'm very religious, got a little sugar in my tank. The other thing is, and this is not a gay thing, a lot of industry people want us to be a coon. I'm not going to be a coon for you. Mm-hmm. And especially as a same gender loving Black man, they want me to be a housewife. And I'm not one of the characters on The Housewives of Atlanta. Right. I'm not a character from Love and Hip Hop, and that's no disrespect to them, but that's not who I am.
Right.
That's not what that is. And so navigating that. So I would be, we would want to do a music video, and they would want me to do things with boys and girls in the video. They would want me to do illicit things in the video. I was like, well, straight people ain't doing this. Why are you asking me to do this? Oh, well, we're trying to counteract the little sugar you got in your tank. So when Gabriels happened, it was under a pseudonym, right? So I was allowed to just be myself. Mm-hmm. And they didn't see my face for a whole year. So we put out music and no one had seen my face.
Wow.
So when they finally saw my face, we did a show called Jules Holland during COVID. Even my first video that I put out saying, hey, we have music dropping. It was a cartoon that I made on my iPhone. It was that little animatron thing. That was my first video I ever put out. And then after that, my first time they saw me was with Jules Holland. I had 6 background singers, Black women, dressed. I had 6 string players, and I had a band. And I had on a gold and white silk smoking jacket with like some red Air Force Ones. But I was allowed, because now it's not my name, so I can do whatever I want to do. And the white boys were like, Jacob, do whatever you want to do. We don't care. At a full-time job, right? So there was no risk in it for me. So I could literally do whatever I wanted to do. And Gabriels gave me the space to be myself. And then here's the other thing, and nobody will talk about it. Being gay and religious doesn't go hand in hand for most people.
Right.
And so I had a predisposition to hating people linking me with gospel music, hating people calling me a gospel singer, because when I heard gospel singer, I thought of Kirk Franklin. And when people called me a gospel singer, they thought of Aretha, but I didn't know that. So Gabriels was the first time that I showed up completely authentically as myself. And what I found was when I was completely and authentically myself, the grand church saved Jesus crazy person who also loves Black men who are tall and brown and whatever else I like. Hallelujah. Thank you, Jesus. Is when the success came. Is when, and I actually hammed it up a little bit. My performances are probably more flamboyant than I am in person, but I took up the whole space, and I wasn't afraid to take up the whole space. I had gained, and I still ain't lost the weight. Pray for me. I had COVID really bad. I turned septic, and I gained maybe 50 or 60 pounds. I was insecure about that. I've gained all this weight. What am I going to do? How are people going to look at me? It was either, were you going to go out here and be yourself, or you going to drown? And so I said, well, I'm going to go out here and be myself. And in that is when the real success came. Sorry, that was a long answer.
No, thank you.
It's amazing because I was going to ask you about, and any type of your sense of the evolution of the music industry in terms of embracing same gender loving creatives and particularly of color. But what you've just shared with us is you're not waiting for them to embrace you.
You can't. You not only can you not wait for them to embrace you. The truth is they're still probably not.
Mm-hmm.
I am a rare occurrence.
Mm-hmm.
When I did American Idol, I kind of had a hissy fit one day, and some bad things happened. And one of the people from the label said, "Jacob, you're the only Black person on a major network on TV at this hour." And I was like, "Oh, I didn't look at it like that." When I had a conversation with my manager, I was talking, shout out to At Work Entertainment in James, Germany. I had a conversation with him the other day, and I was like, "Do you know I'm the only solo Black man at Parlophone Warner Music in the UK? That's not a rapper. I'm the only one."
Wow.
So there is acceptance happening, but
Yes.
also it's not as accepting as we think that it is.
Mm-hmm.
And when it comes to Black excellence, and I hate to do this to us, the truth is Black people, what we were taught is still kind of happening. We have to be 10 times better. Mm-hmm. We have to be on time. You can't be late. You can't be a bitch. You have to, I'm a bit of an overthinker, but I kind of have to be because I can't afford to cut somebody out. I can't afford to go off on anybody. I can't afford it. I can't afford to even be late to this. That's why I was like, oh my God, I can't afford it because even Alvin King, I think the first time he saw me was at the Elton John thing at the Capitol.
And he could not shut up about you. He could not. I swear to you. He came back and he was like, this guy is incredible.
But even that, I was the youngest person on the bill.
He was.
And the only other Black person on the bill was Billy Porter. Billy Porter was the host. And that's that.
And you know what? Because first of all, ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank everybody who's on here tonight, all of our viewers, because some of you all have been offering Jacob jobs. Y'all been telling him he can sing with Louis Vega. He needs to do a house music recording. Charles Reese has even said he wants you to do a project with him. Okay, so I
like the work.
Okay, you're getting the work. Okay, you are getting the work on here. Okay, so but Jacob, I want to ask first of all again, the viewers, if I haven't mentioned your name because this is something that we do here. Believe me, I will get to it before the night is over because I see Damien and Mahali. Thank you all for being here tonight. I really appreciate you guys for being here. So, Jacob, you're known for your bold, flamboyant style. As you know, clearly, you love the flowing capes, tailored suits, and expressive fashion. How does fashion and presentation tie into your expression as a same gender-loving artist? And are there particular statements that you seek, with your fashion when you're performing?
So a couple things. I started out wearing smoking jackets, and what's this movie? It's a movie, Hunger Games. That was my initial inspiration, and I was wearing smoking jackets, and I had the girls dressed in kind of futuristic things. And then I was like, okay, this is too expensive for me to do because I'm traveling with 30 pair of shoes and a different smoking jacket every night. I can't afford this. This is not going to work out. And then soon after that, oh gosh, I'm having a brain fart. He was the head of Vogue, Black man. He wore capes.
Andre Leon
Talley passed away. Mm-hmm. And my manager at the time was this white man, and he sent me pictures of Andre Leon Talley, and I was like, oh, that's it. So I saw that, and then I saw CeCe Winans. She did a concert with an orchestra here in LA, and she came out in this flowing cape, and the whole audience literally gasped when she came out. And I was like, oh, when I walk out, people need to gasp. They need to go, that needs to happen. Otherwise, I need to do something else. They need to gasp. Well, how am I going to make these people gasp when I come outside? So it turned into, okay,
that one would do it.
I started with, and then it was also about Black excellence. So when I think of Diana Ross, when I think of even the Temptations, when I think of really Diana Ross, there is a level of excellence that she exudes all the time. Every time you see her, it's ball gowns. And it's also, for me, it's cool being in the UK. They don't really dress up like that. If you notice, a lot of English artists, they're not really. Adele is the most dressed up of all the English artists, and she's gonna wear black, and that's it. She ain't going much further than that, right? So for me, it wasn't necessarily about my sexual identity. It was more about me upholding the standard that Diana Ross and Luther Vandross and even Aretha set. It was, and my grandmother used to tell me this all the time, Jacob, when you come outside, you're not just representing me and your family, you're representing all the Black people. And so I actually had an argument. I was looking at some new management people some time ago, and I had a meeting at the label. I'm like, yeah, Jacob, you should stop wearing tuxedos. And maybe, we wear jeans and Converse. And I was like, I don't even wear jeans on the airplane. Like, this is chambray. Okay. And I just got off the plane. Okay. Like, and it's not because I don't want to, because I'm from Compton. I'm a basketball shorts and Jordans kind of guy. Right. But it's just for the culture.
For the culture.
These young queer kids, when they go to the balls and stuff, this is what they're aspiring to. So I need to show them that this is real life. This life that you're dreaming of, you can actually do it. So when you come to my show, no, I'm not wearing jeans or sweats. No, it's not happening. I got on a red bottom. I got on a tuxedo loafer. My capes are lined in silk, literal silk, okay? And it's Oscar de la Renta brocade. It's not a game. And it's not because I'm trying to be better than anybody. It's I want you to come and I want you to have an experience and gasp and do all those things, but also know that I'm representing us and I'm representing us well. And I'm representing you. Like, I'm here to serve you. I'm here to give you a show, but also,
I love it.
Yeah, and I get it. It's, to me, that's kind of historical for us as the Black people, that when we leave the house, this is where we begin with Black excellence. Alvin mentioned that earlier at the top of the show. You kind of answered this next question a little bit already, but feel free to go deeper if you will. Yeah. So Jacob, what does authenticity mean to you in the industry? Excuse me, I'm getting over a cold. And how has it ever been difficult to stay true to yourself?
Staying true to myself is a constant battle. I battle with it every day. Finding the balance between, because it's music, right? You want to be successful. So it's finding the balance between what the label likes, what people like, and what you like. And where I'm at a place now where I want to do what I like, But the story I tell myself is that if I do it so well, they're just gonna have to accept it. They're gonna have to take it. I'm gonna do it at a level that's better than anybody else is doing it, and they ain't gonna have they're gonna have to. They're gonna have to just deal with it. They're gonna have to take it. They're gonna have to do it. And if they don't, they can go suck a rock. But if I just do it at that level, then it will yield the results that I want. It's interesting too. I'm an overthinker, and a lot of times I think we talk ourselves out of having what we can actually have.
Saboteur.
And I don't even mean it in the music, even in our lives. We talk ourselves out of that relationship. We talk ourselves out of that situation. We talk ourselves, he don't really want me, or, he wouldn't want that. Or, the music, the label's not, even with I have a new management now, and I was really nervous about it. And it's the first time I ever had a Black manager. My head of my label told me I should get a Black manager. I brought this man in there and they loved him. So it was just like, Jacob, you tripping. You can have all of the things that you want. Don't be afraid to just be yourself and do it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Wow. Jacob, your story, you kind of mentioned a little while ago the importance of representation and the kids seeing you and seeing the level of excellence and so forth. So it's obvious that you understand the importance of representation and how it can inspire kids. Has there been a situation that you can share very quickly of a particular person or young Black creative artist who was inspired by you?
So I have been intentional in hiring, I won't say intentional, intentional in hiring trans women as background singers.
Mm.
So every group of background singers, except for my London crew, I've always had a trans woman involved. Now, I know these women already, so let's give some context to it. So I didn't like, ooh, I went on this hunt. Like, you know, these were people I knew already,
Right.
who were in my circle already. They've worked, they have a certain level of excellence that's really, really high. And I kind of already knew that. So I didn't go that far. But I had a little listening party for my birthday, and she, one of the girls came, and she brought one of her friends who I knew and well in LA. And they kind of sat me down, and they were like, we didn't really think this was possible until you came along, because we are constantly told to do a certain thing. Like, we're constantly told to act a certain way, dress a certain way, be a certain way. And we've not, you know, I'm singing with orchestras. I'm singing with Elton John. I'm singing with Diana Ross. It's a little different than what the usual trajectory is.
Mm-hmm.
And that has really been, to be honest, it's been my motivation, because I get messages from them all the time, and I didn't understand what I was doing. I was just trying to make it, you know what I mean, and do the best that I could, until I started getting those messages from them and those phone calls from them, and them telling me how important it is.
Ladies and gentlemen, y'all know Jacob here. I am, like you say, you're an overthinker, and for excellence, we typically go from 7 to 8. But then our viewers have been writing into us saying, that show should have been an hour and a half. So you all are here. I see you all here, but just know from my heart, I appreciate you. And we got a couple of more questions for Jacob before we let him go. So I appreciate you guys being here with us, but we just want to make sure that we have the full Jacob Lusk experience. Y'all don't know what I felt when I saw this man. Okay, y'all need. I'm telling you. So by the time this interview is over, y'all can go online and find out where he's going to be performing and go check him out. So we're going to go ahead and go on with our last few questions for you. I'm sorry. Thank you all for being here.
No, thanks, Alvin. Thanks for that. So, Jacob, we're going to go into a different category of questions now on faith, resilience, and legacy. And so this is something that I didn't know. So this is kind of sensitive for me to ask this question, but so I hope it's not too much. But you've spoken openly about being or facing homelessness and post-idol setbacks, if you will, and yet here you are. You're still going. Okay. Again, so how did faith in music carry you through all of that?
I think a lot of things are faith involved, but a lot of things are also logical. And a lot of these people just don't want to work. And I don't understand, baby. You got to go get a job.
Come on now.
And you also, the other thing is, so like, sowing and reaping is not just a biblical principle. I think it's just a universal principle. So let's like take it away from the Bible for a second. Like, if you selling your chitlins, and I don't mean the chitlins we eat, praise God. All right. If you're selling your chitlins, then you're going to reap dudes who buy chitlins. And like, and honestly, I had this great person who's a lawyer. He wanted me to move to Boston and fry him chicken and sit up. Right. And I could have done that, but I wouldn't be here. Mm-hmm. So you have to make a decision for yourself about who you are and what you want to be. Mm-hmm. And when you make that decision, the choices that you make need to align with those things. Mm-hmm. I knew that I wanted to be a singer. I knew that I wanted to be famous. I knew that I wanted to do something that people that I knew didn't do. So what that meant for me was I didn't go certain places. I didn't do certain things. And not because it was anything wrong with it. I tell people this all the time, when I was on American Idol, they would not allow us to take pictures with glasses in our hand. American Idol is not a religious television show. I think this last year they asked some gospel people, and before that it was not a religious show. Mm-hmm. It was because they said, hey, because of the platform that you guys are aspiring to and that you are on, this doesn't look good. So you can't do that. So, and it wasn't, and so I tell people that in the same way, your life and your choices matter. So when people know that I have a job, they respect me more. They honor it. Even as a musician, it's like, oh, okay. Well, yeah, you can't play with me. You can't offer me $20 and think I'm gonna come. You can't, someone asked a question about, do you have to have money to be successful? No, you don't have the money to be successful, but having a job will release you from being desperate.
Dr. Tool, yeah.
It's a tool. So because I had a job and I had a Mercedes, I was able to drive to rehearsal to go when I worked with Diana Ross, and I didn't have to catch a bus. One of the guys had to get a ride home. He didn't have his outfit to wear. He didn't, because you know what I mean? I had a job. And I was able to drive there. I was able to drive back home. Even when I showed up, my energy was different. My energy wasn't desperate. I wasn't looking for some man to take care of me while I was doing it. I wasn't having to do things I didn't want to do, you know? So it's really aligning yourself with what your vision, your goals, and your desires are, and making a plan to make it happen. When I started wearing the capes, I had one tuxedo and 2 pair of pants. Now that tuxedo was $5,000, but I wore one tuxedo and 2 capes for a whole year. And that's all I had for that year. And 1 pair of tuxedo shoes. That's what I had for that year. And I made that the thing. And it, you know, and I did the tuxedo because ain't nobody gonna know that I only got 1 tuxedo and 5 shirts.
Right.
It's just like he always shows up in such a beautiful tuxedo.
They just know he's always in a tuxedo. And
the only one who knows is you and your saboteur.
And it got me, listen, and it got me a magazine cover for V-Man. Because he wears tuxedos appropriately.
There you go.
I made a plan. So you just have to really and yes, I was homeless because I mismanaged let's be real, I mismanaged my money and I didn't want to get a job because I was embarrassed. Because I was on TV and I was like, if I go get a job, then people are going to look at me and think my life is over. Well, would you rather have people look at you and think your life is over, or would you rather be starving? At some point, I said, well, I like to eat, so let me get up and go eat.
Choice is made.
There you go. Mic drop. Okay.
Now, your first group, Innate Praise, was started with the support of Nate Dogg. Now, that was an unexpected collaboration there when I read that. Tell us a little bit about that and what that collaboration and his support meant for you.
So again, I just wanted to sing. I was in college. I was going to community college at the time, and I took a voice class, and my voice teacher was like, "You were born to sing." And I was like, "Okay, girl, I'm gonna go sing." My plan was to be an opera singer, but in the interim, because Jacob can't sit still, I started just taking auditions on Craigslist because this was quite a long time ago. And one of the auditions was for a hip hop artist. I needed background singers. So it turned into him needing a few background singers for a Christmas project. Then it turned into a choir. And then I would ride the train 2.5, 3 hours each way to the studio.
This is pre-Mercedes.
Pardon?
This is pre-Mercedes.
This is low. Yeah, I didn't even have a driver's license, y'all. Y'all pray, okay? I didn't even have a driver's license, okay? I would ride the bus and the train 3 hours to get there, 3 hours to get home. And I would do that twice, 2 or 3 times a week. Well, one night I missed the last train and nobody wanted to take me home. So I spent the night in the studio with Nate Dogg, and nothing nefarious happened. Praise the name of the Lord Jesus. And he was drinking a lot of Hennessy. I thought he was drinking tea. He was drinking Hennessy and Red Bull. Well, he's gone now. That may be part of the reason, but we're not going to talk about that. And so in me missing the train that night, we actually connected, and he became a mentor of mine. And what I didn't know, and this is why your work ethic, and people are always watching you. Mm-hmm. So everyone knew that I was riding the train to and from every day. Nobody offered me a ride. Nobody took me home that night. We ain't driving all the way to the other side of Long Beach to take you home. But he knew. So he had a stroke maybe a year after we started working. And I kind of freaked out. I didn't know what I was going to do. I dropped out of school, and I had kind of put my eggs in this Nate Dogg basket. He had a couple more strokes. American Idol happens. He dies while I'm on the show. Mm-hmm. They wouldn't allow me to go to the funeral. They gave me a shout out at the funeral. First, it was a lot. It's a lot more to the story. But once it was over, his manager sent me files of songs that I had done with Nate Dogg, and they had been making plans before American Idol had even happened. And though those things didn't do whatever they needed to do, it was a reminder and a remarker for me that, hey, people are watching you. Every opportunity, you never know where the miracle, where the blessing is going to come from. Mm-hmm. And that was really my start in the industry. I dropped out of college because Nate Dogg said I could sing. So yeah.
Wow.
Well, Thank you. Okay, before we let you go, I have two questions. One, you've carved out a unique lane, Jacob, where gospel, soul, and cinematic storytelling collide, all in one in your voice. What legacy do you want Jacob Lusk to leave behind?
I want to live a legacy that people will hopefully know that dreams do come true, that you're never too old to dream, and that you really can have the life that you want. And also that being kind and being loving is probably the greatest thing you could ever do. I think that if that could be the legacy, it would be that. It just, yeah.
Well, we know that you have a new solo project that's coming out, and we've been putting your website up. Is there anything that you want to let us in on so that the audience can prepare and get ready for the Jacob Lusk experience that's coming our way?
Just follow me on Instagram. Please follow me on Instagram. Follow me on Facebook. Watch videos of me on YouTube. Like, do all the things. I made a TikTok. I haven't posted anything, but follow me on TikTok. I'm gonna post on TikTok, and I'm grateful. I'm grateful to you guys for having me tonight. I'm grateful to my label for allowing me to do this. My management, at work, entertainment, James, Germany, everyone. Thank you all. Alvin, Sean, Bobby, thank you so much.
Thank you. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go off script a little bit while Jacob is sitting right here. And I'm going to ask, we have our producer, his name is Norman Rich. Today is his birthday, ladies and gentlemen, and he is the 10 fingers behind us every week. So Norman, when you remove that picture, can you bring yourself on screen for a minute? And don't tell me no, please. Don't send me no message.
He's our Oz. Oz.
Can you just bring yourself on screen for a quick minute, please? All right.
There he
Don't
is.
you leave. Ladies and gentlemen, I have asked Jacob in a Jacob Lusk fashion to sing happy birthday to our producer tonight, ladies and gentlemen. I know y'all want to hear Jacob, but this is the only way that we can do it tonight. And Jacob agrees. So Jacob, thank you so much. So the stage is yours. So however you want to go.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Norman. Happy birthday to you. May all your dreams come true. May all of your dreams come true. May all of your dreams come true. Happy birthday to you.
That was really hard.
Thank you so much. That was amazing.
Jacob, thank you so much. Happy birthday, Norman. Ladies and gentlemen, the incredible Jacob Lusk. Everybody, please click. Put your hands in there. Whatever you're going to do, just let him know that you're there. Next week, we have the incredible Charles Reese experiences here, ladies and gentlemen. And we also, in our We See You, we're going to introduce you to the CEO of Rent the Dress DC. Hey, y'all, trust me, y'all need to tune in. T. Wright will be here with us. And as always, we have our words of the week this week that we always have to leave with you. People can duplicate what you do, but they can't replicate who you are. Stay authentic, as we've been talking about that all night tonight with our wonderful guest, Jacob Lusk. Jacob, I don't know, you can't touch me, but this love that's coming from here to the West Coast to you right now from Alvin King is as real and genuine as I can give.
Thank you.
That was fabulous.
Thank you. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for staying with us tonight. And we look forward to seeing you next week on a brand new episode of He Said.
He said.
Oh, wait.
He sings too. Okay.
Jacob. You're good.
Thanks a lot, Jacob. Thank you. Good night, everybody.